You have carefully planned your vacation, found the perfect hotel, booked the cheapest tickets, and even learned how to ask, "Where is the bathroom?" without mistakes. But here's the question. Have you checked the local rules, for example, whether squeaky shoes are prohibited? Or if you are required to smile constantly? From Rome to Singapore, strange, ridiculous, and funny laws are scattered across the planet, capable of turning a dream into an expensive tourist mistake. In Venice, Italy, even simply sitting can lead to serious trouble. The city, known for its walks, prohibits sitting on monuments and steps. Sitting on a monument, a church step, or the pavement in St. Mark's Square guarantees a fine of several €100. The official reason is decency, but it seems like a chair rental industry conspiracy. Venice wants your money, but not your butt on the stones. Imagine the island of Capri, Italy. The sun plays on the water, and you get arrested because of flip-flops. This is not a fiction. On the island of Capri, wearing overly noisy shoes is prohibited, especially wooden clogs or loud sandals that disturb the island's peaceful atmosphere. This is law, not a joke. This ban once led to the detention of a couple of tourists whose shoes made too much noise. Comfort turned into a crime, a classic example of a tourist mistake. So, will you dare to wear your favorite noisy shoes? In Capri, your feet must remain silent so as not to disturb the tranquility of this paradise. In Switzerland, the country of precision and order, biological functions must follow a strict schedule. This is not a law of the country, but a tradition in residential buildings. In apartment buildings, flushing the toilet after 10 o'clock in the evening is prohibited. This rule is to reduce noise and show respect to neighbors. Your nighttime visit to the toilet can cause noise disturbance. The point is not to become an outcast in your own home because of one flush. If you plan to visit the Acropolis in Athens, leave your high heels at home. In Greece, wearing them on many ancient monuments is forbidden. This is not a fashion verdict, but a measure to protect cultural monuments from damage and wear caused by sharp heels. Historical preservation plays an important role. Stiletto heels create immense pressure capable of damaging marble surfaces that have endured for millennia. Your stylish shoes are perceived as a threat. When visiting the cradle of democracy, remember that your pumps are considered weapons of mass historical destruction. They can harm cultural heritage. 5. Singapore is known for its almost obsessive cleanliness. It earned this reputation through strict methods and a ban on chewing gum since 1992. The import and sale of chewing gum are prohibited. This is not a random decision, but a personal initiative of the country's founder after vandalism in the subway. Instead of hiring additional cleaners, he banned the substance entirely. Attempting to bring in a pack of Big Red can result in a fine of $1,000. 6. If you feel down in Milan, it's better to fix your facial expression. There is a strange old law that requires you to smile constantly. The only places where you can frown are funerals or... Imagine trying to explain to a police officer that you are not unhappy but just thinking about your credit card bill. This is the law in Milan, where a frowning face is forbidden. Today, this law is rarely enforced, but it remains a funny attempt to legislate happiness. making Milan the only place where frowning is an offense. 7th, driving through Canada, you notice that the radio constantly plays Drake, The Weeknd, and Bryan Adams. This is not a coincidence, but a law. The Canadian content rule requires that at least 35% of music on the radio be produced by Canadian artists, protecting the culture from neighbors to the south. This explains why you know the words to at least one Nickelback song and you don't particularly like it. 8th, you toss a 10-baht coin in Bangkok and it rolls away. The first thought is to quickly step on it to stop it. Don't. In Thailand, this is a big mistake. Their deeply revered king is depicted on the currency, and any desecration of his image, including stepping on it, is strictly prohibited. Accidentally insulting the monarchy in Thailand is considered a serious offense. It violates the lèse-majesté laws that protect the royal family from insults. Many tourists make this mistake unknowingly, turning a small error into a serious international incident. In Thailand, your money demands respect and care. Number 9, pigeons. To some, they are friendly birds, but in Venice, they are seen as public enemies. For years, tourists fed them in St. Mark's Square. The city declared war on the pigeons because their acidic droppings damaged priceless marble statues and historic buildings, causing millions of euros in damage. Venice banned feeding pigeons entirely. If caught giving a breadcrumb, the fine can be up to 700 euros. That charming vacation photo could be very costly. Number 10. The German Autobahn is a paradise of limitless speed, where you can test your rental car's full capabilities. On the Autobahn, running out of fuel is considered the most preventable and the most foolish reason to stop. It is perceived as a lack of character and seriousness. An empty tank is like showing up to a shootout with a banana. In Portugal, if you feel the urge to relieve yourself by their stunning coast, it's better to hold back. Technically, urinating in the ocean is prohibited. Australia treats its ecosystem almost like a religion, and biosecurity laws as sacred scripture. In 2015, Johnny Depp and Amber Heard learned this firsthand. They tried to bring their 2 Yorkshire Terriers, Pistol and Boo, on a private plane. The government gave them only 50 hours to remove the dogs, or euthanasia would be threatened. Yes, Australia was ready to fight Captain Jack Sparrow over a couple of fluffy smugglers. It's a lesson for every traveler. Do not break biosecurity laws. Welcome to Dubai, a shining, futuristic city where everything seems possible, except public displays of affection like kissing your partner openly. The city enforces strict Islamic law. Romantic hugs, passionate kisses, or even holding hands in public can lead to trouble, including heavy fines or jail time. Vacationers face a strange paradox here. Dubai is a top destination for luxury and romance, yet all romantic acts must remain strictly behind closed doors. Public passion is replaced by capitalism's embrace. The United Kingdom is famous for quirky old laws, but the Salmon Act of 1986 is a bureaucratic modern classic about fish poaching. According to this law, handling a salmon in suspicious circumstances is illegal. The exact meaning of suspicious remains amusingly unclear to many. Is the fish wearing a tiny trench coat and sunglasses? Or trying to pay bus fare with herring? These questions reflect the humor in this strange law. Tourists often make the mistake of not understanding this law. leading to funny and unexpected situations when dealing with salmon in the UK. Imagine encountering local quirks and wondering, what does a guilty salmon even look like? It makes you think about the world's oddities. Planning a trip along the Spanish coast? Be sure to dress properly. In Spain, driving in flip-flops, sandals without straps, or without a shirt is prohibited. The law is explained by safety concerns. Flip-flops can slip off and get stuck under the pedals. But imagine the Guardia Civil stopping you and reprimanding you over your footwear. This rule for vacationers turns your car into a formal event. In Spain, cars have a dress code: strict, business, casual. Everyone knows the old joke, why did the chicken cross the road? But in Quitman, Georgia, no one laughs. There, the law forbids chickens from crossing the road. This is truly a law created to prevent birds from entering road traffic and causing disturbances. In Quitman, the question of the chicken's motives does not matter. It doesn't matter which road you take, it will still lead you to jail. The 17th law sounds like a joke, but it is absolutely real and, frankly, reasonable. In the beautiful island country of Samoa, a husband is forbidden to forget his wife's birthday. The police probably don't conduct special checks, but the law reminds of family duties. This law is a great lesson for tourists about cultural priorities. What would you choose? To stand before a judge or before your spouse? Punishment from the state may be milder than at home. France prides itself on its culinary tradition and is ready to protect it by law. In 2011, the government banned ketchup in school cafeterias. This step was aimed at protecting traditional French cuisine from the influence of American fast food culture. The exception, ketchup is only allowed with French fries. This is a perfect example of gastronomic nationalism. In France, the main threat to traditions is precisely such changes in food and culture. The Republic is not a conquering army, but a bottle of height. For many tourists, especially Americans, tipping is a natural expression of gratitude. In Japan, tipping is a social taboo. Attempting to give tips to a waiter or driver causes confusion, and you may be chased to return the money. For the Japanese, it means the employer underpays or the service requires a bribe. Generosity here can lead to awkwardness and make you look ridiculous. On the remote Norwegian archipelago of Svalbard, there is a settlement called Longyearbyen, where one of the darkest laws on the planet is in effect. In Longyearbyen, it is forbidden to die. This is not philosophy, but a public health issue due to the permafrost. Bodies here do not decompose, and scientists have discovered live 1918 flu viruses in the remains. Therefore, terminally ill patients are transported to the mainland. Svalbard attracts with the northern lights, but it is better not to stay here forever. The bureaucratic difficulties are great. In the great state of Oklahoma, there is a law that, imagine the crazy party you missed. In some places, it is forbidden to keep a sleeping donkey in your bathtub after 7 o'clock in the evening. This is strange in itself, but the law specifically concerns a sleeping donkey and applies only after 7 o'clock in the evening, not at any other time of the day. The rule is so precise that it probably appeared after a real case. This law is like a ghost of a legendary Saturday night. When you visit the majestic ancient ruins of Greece, you stand on the shoulders of giants, Socrates, Plato, Aristotle. The Greek government asks not to show your backside to the giants. Imagine tourists doing exactly that at the Parthenon. Due to such incidents, the authorities have introduced a ban on purring, the display of buttocks, considering it indecent and an insult to heritage. Violators face fines and arrests. Enjoy the birthplace of philosophy, but keep your conversations and behavior strictly in front. If you are embarking on a romantic journey along the roads, when traveling through Italy, be careful passing through the town of Ave. Kissing in a moving car is prohibited here. This rule is related to road safety. The law aims to prevent driver distraction, but one can't help imagining a patrol of passion watching over loving couples. This is a classic Italian law. This law regulates very specific behavior, turning a spontaneous moment of tenderness into a traffic violation in Eve. In Eve, the only thing that should be reckless and hot is your car's radiator. In Singapore, the obsession with cleanliness has become legendary and extends even to the most personal public places. It is forbidden not to flush the water in a public toilet after use. And yes, this is monitored. There are reports of secret inspections to punish offenders with fines. This is not a recommendation, but the law. This is the highest degree of state control, proving that in Singapore, the government's watchful eye extends even to the sewage system. Forgetting to flush is a tourist's mistake that smells unpleasant and can be costly. Denmark has no written law, but there is an unwritten janteloven, or law of Jante, that regulates behavior. In Denmark, it is important not to stand out too much. The message is simple. You are not better than others. Boasting and showing off wealth are considered bad manners. Tourists from individualistic countries often don't understand this. There, if you are the most noticeable, you will be cut down. Even if you are having the best day of your life, it's better to say it was just good and move on. In Finland, speeding fines depend on the offender's income. It is a system of day fines, equal for everyone in terms of the pain of punishment. An ordinary person may pay a few €100, while a wealthy top manager pays an amount similar to a down payment on a house. In 2015, a billionaire paid €54,000 for exceeding the speed limit by 22 kilometers per hour. In Finland, the punishment applies not only to you, but also to your tax class. This makes the system fair and equal for everyone. If you are walking in the beautiful Swiss Alps and want to enjoy nature, do not walk naked. A German man who did so faced problems. His habit of walking naked in the mountains caused dissatisfaction and problems with local authorities. It is better to follow the rules and respect the country's culture. In the Enzell canton of Switzerland, a man went on a hiking trip completely naked. Local authorities brought him to court for violating public decency. Judges ruled that public nudity violates customs of decency and fined the man. Now this has become a legal precedent. This case is not just a traveler's mistake, but a protection of sensitive local squirrels. In Switzerland, the right to bear arms exists. But that's all. Thinking of starting a new life in Cambodia? Better not bring a giant water gun with you. The import and use of all types of water guns are prohibited there. The ban is especially enforced during the Cambodian New Year. The government fears that noisy revelers cause disturbances and traffic accidents using water guns. While other Southeast Asian countries hold massive water battles, Cambodia remains a splash and water-free zone. There, Super Soaker is contraband. In Turin, Italy, owning a dog is more than just a status. It is a legal obligation. The owner must walk the pet at least 3 times a day. Failure to comply with this rule threatens a fine. The city authorities strictly enforce the dog walking law for the health of the animals. In Turkey, fines can reach 500 euros for failing to walk a dog. Animal protection requires obeying the law, making walking a duty. Explaining to the police that the poodle is just tired is useless. In Turkey, excuses are not accepted, either a walk or a fine. The law is no joke. In the Netherlands, despite its liberalism, there are restrictions for tourists in Amsterdam. Smoking tobacco in coffee shops is now prohibited, although cannabis is allowed. The law prohibits smoking regular cigarettes inside cafes, despite allowing joint smoking. Workers are protected from secondhand tobacco smoke. This national smoking ban was created to protect workers, but it only concerns tobacco, not cannabis. This paradox reflects the spirit of Amsterdam. In Georgia, USA, there are issues with regulating specific public gatherings. In the city of Gainesville, which calls itself the poultry capital. In one corner of the world, it is forbidden to eat fried chicken with a knife and fork. This law was passed in 1961 to promote the local poultry industry. This law has been preserved as a beloved local legend. A 91-year-old tourist was even jokingly arrested for violating this regulation. In Gainesville, the only proper way to honor the bird is to eat it with your bare hands. Cutlery here is considered a sign of weakness and apostasy. In the Maldives, a magnificent island paradise, the government takes its religious identity very seriously. The country is officially 100% Islamic. Public confession of any other faith is prohibited. Tourists are not allowed to bring in religious texts such as the Bible, crosses, or other religious symbols. Your luggage will be thoroughly checked, and any religious items may be confiscated. This is one of the most serious mistakes a tourist can make upon arrival. You come for the paradise beaches, but you'll have to leave your version of paradise at home. This country has its own strict rules and laws. On the picturesque island of Barbados, fashion is a matter of national security. Wearing certain clothes is prohibited unless you are a member of the armed forces. This law emphasizes the importance of discipline and order on the island, where clothing style is closely linked to national identity. Barbados has a strict law against wearing camouflage clothing. Tourists are arrested for camouflage shorts or shirts, their items confiscated and fined. Authorities don't care if the camouflage is a designer novelty. They believe you are plotting a coup. So wear bright, tropical colors. In Barbados, blending in with the surroundings is dangerous. The police pay attention to those trying to be unnoticed. In Sweden, it is forbidden to paint a house without the municipality's permission. Even if you use the same color, you must apply. The government wants to preserve the neighborhood's aesthetics. If you plan to paint your house neon pink, you'll have to think twice. In Sweden, even your creative idea needs permission. Beautiful streets are a shared responsibility, and violations can result in heavy fines. In Denmark, a child's name must be approved by the government. Parents cannot choose any name they want. There is an official list of approximately 7,000 approved names. A name outside the list requires formal consideration and application. In Denmark, There is a special naming committee that ensures children do not receive names that could cause ridicule in the future. Parents are not allowed to be too inventive when choosing a name. If you dream of naming your child Moonbeam or XA12, prepare for serious bureaucratic difficulties. In Denmark, a child's first identification problem starts with a rejection letter. In Singapore, there are unusual restrictions on personal expression, besides the ban on chewing gum. It is forbidden to walk naked in your own apartment if it is visible from outside. The law considers nudity in a private home indecent behavior if someone can see you through a window or open door. A neighbor's view of your birthday can lead to court. In Singapore, even the most private moments require curtains. This is not a travel mistake, but a lifestyle mistake that can lead to trouble. In the United Kingdom, a country of castles and gentlemanly rules, it is illegal to be drunk while riding a horse. This law is part of the Licensing Act of 1872. This law also applies to cows, carts, and steam engines. It is an old rule that is still in effect today. The era when the horse was the main means of transportation has never been repealed. If you have been drinking in a pub, you can legally take a taxi, but you cannot ride a horse. This is the original violation of drunk driving rules. It reminds us that some problems have existed for a very long time and remain relevant. In Florence, Italy, the cradle of the Renaissance, eating and drinking near famous churches and public buildings is prohibited. This is not just a polite suggestion. It is a strict regulation backed by fines. The city is tired of tourists leaving trash, wine stains, and greasy sandwich wrappers on the steps of valuable landmarks. Red zones have been created where snacking is considered a crime. A classic tourist mistake. They thought they were having a cute picnic, but the city sees it as vandalism. In South Africa, the wildlife protection law is so strictly enforced that it even concerns giraffes, or more precisely, their heads. To protect both visitors and animals after incidents where tourists were pushed by giraffes or bitten by monkeys, strict safety measures were introduced. This is a rare case where reckless selfie culture clashes with the natural justice of a giraffe's long neck. In South Africa, if you want to keep your head intact, keep it inside the vehicle. We conclude the section in France, a country with deeply rooted anxiety about transport hubs and death. There is a very old and little-known law prohibiting dying at railway stations. The reason for this rule is bureaucratically brilliant. A railway station is public property. A death at the station would create a logistical nightmare with jurisdictions and paperwork. Who is responsible? The railway company? The city? This rule is not made to save lives, but to protect the official. In the state of Iowa, there is a law that seems like a personal attack on all romantic movies. A man with a mustache is not allowed to kiss a woman in public according to this law. This is not a joke, but real, albeit outdated legislation that is still in effect. What was the great catastrophe of the mustached kiss that led to such a law? Why is this? Did an epidemic of intrusive, unwanted displays of affection occur? For a mustached tourist in Iowa, there is a difficult choice: love or facial hair. You cannot have both at once. The proverb says, "When in Rome, do as the Romans do." And the Romans do not keep goldfish in small round bowls. The Eternal City has banned such aquariums. Roman authorities recognized that the shape of the bowl is cruel. Animal rights activists claim that such a bowl has little oxygen, and the fish sees the world distorted, risking blindness. This law seems extraordinarily specific and at the same time very well thought out. It reminds us that even the smallest creatures in Rome have dignity and protection. Returning to the United Kingdom, where the law treats national symbols in a special way. It is considered treason to affix a stamp with the monarch's image upside down. In the era of email, this law is more of a historical curiosity, but it says a lot about respect for the crown. Simply sending a letter becomes a significant act. A statement with high political tension, forgetting which side is up, could theoretically make you an enemy of the state. That's a tourist mistake. Just sending a postcard. In the state of Minnesota, you should think twice before organizing a traditional pig chase. A strange law prohibits holding a contest with a greased pig. These competitions with greased pigs were once a popular entertainment at rural fairs, but were later deemed inhumane. You can enjoy butter sculptures and fried food, but seeing a frightened pig running for its life is strictly prohibited. In Thailand, personal hygiene is not just a recommendation, but practically a law. Leaving the house without underwear is forbidden. How this law is enforced in practice is unknown, but it exists as a statement of public decency and works on an honor system. This law reminds that in Thailand, some things are better left to the imagination. Before going out in Bangkok, be sure to think about this. In Germany, a country that values precision and planning, pillows can be considered passive weapons. If someone aggressively uses a pillow against another person, it can lead to an assault charge. Germany is the only country where pillow talk can end with a police report. Now let's talk about reincarnation. The law is widely seen as a political tool aimed at controlling the choice of the next Dalai Lama, whom followers consider a reincarnation. This is an extreme example of bureaucratic intervention, where the Chinese government decided to control not only this life, but also the next one. In South Korea, the fight against screen addiction is becoming one of society's main tasks, aimed at improving the health and well-being of the population. The Cinderella Law, or the Shutdown Law, prohibits children under 16 from playing online games from midnight to 6 in the morning. The system automatically disconnects them from the servers. The purpose of the law is to ensure children get enough sleep, but it has sparked a wave of teenagers trying to use their parents' accounts to play one more match. This is a striking clash between public health policy and the unyielding will of a teenage gamer. In the city of Memphis, Tennessee, the birthplace of blues and rock and roll, there is a strange law about frogs. Frogs are not allowed to croak after 11 o'clock at night. This law probably originated because of one too loud amphibian that drove a local resident to the limit. How to enforce it? Issue a warning to the frog, or arrest the whole pond. This law is impossible to enforce, but it vividly reflects the community's desire for silence and peace. We conclude our journey in Japan, a country where etiquette is elevated to an art form, even in small details like elevator use. In some government buildings in Japan, it is forbidden to press the elevator emergency stop button without a valid reason. This rule was created to prevent pranks and save rescuers time. Breaking this rule threatens a hefty fine and disapproving looks from others. The law may seem strict, but in Japan, even elevator etiquette is important for social harmony. Respect the elevator ride or be ready to pay the price. This unusual law is part of the Japanese social contract that regulates behavior even in small details. So here's an example. From smiling on command to the ban on keeping a donkey in the bathtub, The world is full of surprisingly strange rules. Next time you travel, remember, you are not just a tourist. You are a temporary citizen with a unique story and strange laws. What is the strangest rule you have ever encountered while traveling? Share your story in the comments. We're curious to know. If you enjoyed this journey through the world's rules, be sure to subscribe to the channel for new adventures in the strange and amazing. After 49 unusual rules, our most memorable find is France and its amazing rule. In France, there is a law prohibiting dying in railway stations. This law reflects the very essence of strange legislation. The law is incredibly specific, amusingly bureaucratic, and completely unenforceable. Only in France can death be considered an administrative problem. And what about you? Which rule made you laugh, shudder, or shake your head the most? Leave your opinion in the comments. We look forward to your feedback on the strangest laws in the world.